What's up? What is up? And I just hit the wrong camera. Okay, there we go. That's the right camera. Not a tech stream unless we have some tech issue at some point. Somehow my camera over here, the one on the gimbal, got turned around. Not that we use it all that much lately, but what's everyone up to? How's everyone's 2026 officially going? You were about to go to bed? Bro, it's only like 4 in the afternoon. Long day? But what's everyone up to? It's officially 2026. You've been up since 7:44 p.m. What were you doing up all that time? It's 1:23 p.m. for me right now, Cali time. Yeah, you got the, what is it, PST, Pacific Standard Time, I think it is, over there. I used to live out in California, in Malibu, for a little while when I was doing a contract for a few months. Don't know if I'd ever want to live in California again. Unholy things. That's what you were doing? You should get an e-bike, Chief. No. The issue with that is, where I live, one, I would only be able to use that half the year. The other part is, the area I live is not really conducive to biking in general. How about Washington State? Probably not. New Year, tech bag. Find a good IT travel bag. IT travel bags. You looking for a backpack or a rollaway? Because that'll, change the differences there. Now, I will have to say, backpack and shoulder bag wise, a backpack. 511 Rush 12. That's what I've been using religiously for 3 or 4 years now. That's been my backpack I've literally taken around the world with me. It's gone to DEF CON multiple times. It's got a soft laptop pouch. You can also fit a 3-liter hydration pack in there, so it's great for conventions. It's got Molly all over it, so you can customize and add bags however you need. So like mine, I can hold a coffee thermos in it and hold a bunch of different stuff in there, add bags on so I can hold my screwdrivers, a bunch of other stuff. And it's even got a little hidden pocket in there too, so that if you want to, stash some things, like say a Flipper Zero and nobody knows it's there, that's a great place. But yeah, 511 Rush 12 definitely is my recommendation for the backpack. They also have the Rush 24, which is a slightly larger bag. Same exact feature set, just slightly larger. Anything bigger than that, it's not really going to work well on an airline as a carry-on. But yeah, the Rush 12 perfectly works for me. I've had a great time with it. Rush 12 or 24. I think I have a 24. I have my one of my spare backpacks over here to fit my 17-inch laptop. I don't know if you'll be able to do that. But, yeah. Here's my spare one. Pardon the dog hair. Yeah, this is a spare one I have that still has some other bags in there. There's another 511 chest bag, so you can actually put stuff around your chest, but it's a nice size. You may be able to fit a 17-inch laptop in there, but the honest truth is most bags are not sized for 17 inches. Most bags are sized for 15 inches. 15 inches or less. Because 17 is honestly a rather rare size for a laptop, and it's not really a laptop at 17 inches, it's a desktop replacement at that point, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have never really seen a laptop make sense larger than 15 inches. But that's just me. Only place I was in that's more expensive in is Copenhagen, Hawaii. Oh yeah, California is very expensive. It's been a nightmare. I'm just waiting for a framework upgrade to toss this beast out. I don't know if I'd toss a good working laptop out. I still keep a lot of my laptops. I still have my fat gamer laptop I was gifted many years ago, which I think has an NVIDIA 980 in it. And I use it once in a while as a spare computer for me to test things out on. But yeah, I keep on a lot of my old stuff. I remember some of my friends were shocked when I tell them, they're like, oh yeah, I sold my old GPU to pay off part of the new GPU. And I'm like, I've never sold a GPU. And like, what? And I'm like, I've given away a GPU or two when somebody needed it, but I've never sold a GPU just to pay off another one. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because you can do a lot with a GPU, even an older one. And now that LLMs are all the rage, they're running around trying to be like, oh, I need to get a GPU for my LLM rig, but I got to spend so much money. And I'm like, now you see why I do that. I got the 1660 Super I had laying around as a TTS box. I have my old 3050 that I upgraded from the Streambox over here in the LLM server during Gemma 3 4B. I bought a 5060 Ti to pair with it. My old 3070 that was in here is going to go in the second LLM server, which I'm going to be setting up for a moderation bot eventually in the next few months. Yeah, this would end up being a media server or render farm since it has a 2070 in it. Yeah, you can do a lot with the 2070. You could even set that up as a headless Solama server if you really wanted to. I mean, your monitor's already built in there. The great thing about a laptop is it's basically got a UPS built in. So I actually reused one of my laptops before I went over to a mini PC so I could use it as a Ham Shack PC. Overpowered Ham Shack PC, albeit, but yeah. Frameworks are awesome, but that thing is so expensive. It depends. I mean, here's the thing I'll tell people. You know, buying a laptop that costs a little bit more, barring a Mac, they are the exception to this rule, is a good investment because it's cheaper to have a good laptop last you at least 3 years, ideally 5 or more years, than it is to just go cheap and then end up replacing a laptop every year. I think on average, my laptops are about $2,000 a piece. But my oldest laptop that's still in my rotation has literally been repurposed to be my testing laptop for now that I'm going to college because I need a Windows-based laptop for some of their Proctor software. And I wasn't about to like have that run on this Windows desktop over here. I wanted a separate laptop, and I'm like, well, yeah, I have that Lenovo IdeaPad laying around. May as well just reuse it. Turn my gaming laptop into a Proxmox host. I mean, yeah. Yo, Chief, how often should I do a data removal through Incognito or Delete Me? Well, Delete Me automatically will do it every 90 days for you. So once you input the information, it should actually be able to just do it programmatically. You only should have to enter in data if you start doing Googles and other OSINT searches on yourself and find information that wasn't removed. So I generally do that once every other month and just do a lookup on myself and then see whatever information and then do a manual removal that way. That's the beauty of these data removal services, is that you don't have to go out and do the thing. They do the thing for you. So, yeah. But if you're talking about the manual removals, well, there's a couple hundred data brokers, so it really depends on how often they add your data. Let's see, trying to catch up. Having my info on them people's search sites scares me. Yeah, that's a problem we have in the USA, and I've been bitching about this for many years, as you know. We don't have a right to privacy in the USA, so much as we do in Europe. Now, people in California at least have the CCPA. That's a whole other thing. But yeah. 1660 Super is still a good GPU. Oh yeah, it absolutely is. I'm planning to use it for my TTS stuff when I start doing my own TTS processing. Is Sec Plus a good first cert as a senior in bachelor's in IT? Oh, you mean as in senior getting your degree? I mean, it's an alright cert. The funny thing is I have my CISSP, and I'll probably be getting the Security Plus as part of the WGU classes that I'm going to be taking, which is hilarious because even I had to tell my mentor, so you want me to take entry-level certs to get my bachelor degree when I already have a CISSP? That math ain't mathing to me, but whatever. Just get the stupid piece of paper. But yeah, Security Plus, I mean, is alright if you're, getting your bachelor's right now. But the thing I would tell you is, don't focus on just getting the pieces of paper while you're in school. Get experience. Go for internships. Go for, start making a home lab with secondhand hardware that you can come across. That's going to be a lot more valuable because the thing is, I need to burst this bubble for a lot of people that are, in college right now. Merely having the degree and the cert is not going to get you the job. I hate to break it to you. Listen to me before you're going and typing away and all that. The reality is, when it goes to cybersecurity, there's not really entry-level jobs. They want to see that you have 2 to 3 or more years of IT experience to understand the stuff. And there's a growing problem where companies are not wanting to hire people to train and invest in them, as much as I disagree with that idea that they have, but that's the reality. So you need to, make sure you have experience on your resume, and coming straight out of college is not enough for a lot of the jobs right now. Last summer, no home lab, no offers. Made a home lab with Proxmox 3 interviews. See, right there. I've been in this field 15 years. I only got an associate's degree primarily because my family forced me to get that because, Middle Eastern, you got to go to school, all that, and then yada yada. Now I'm going back for my bachelor's just because of the stupid, gatekeeping they have for more senior roles. No certifications up until a little over a year ago, and the first one was a CISSP. Been in the field 15 years. All I really have done is home labbing, tinkering, some GitHub stuff, and slap that on my resume, and that's gotten me a lot of jobs and interviews. And here's the other thing a lot of people don't really get told, and may rebuff me when I say this. A lot of people now, when they're going to hire people, are wanting to see that you're doing things outside of work. They don't want to know, they don't want you to be the type of person that's only going to clock in, do your job during that time, and then it stops. A lot of times, they're asking you, what are you doing outside of work? What projects are you working on your own? And if you can't give them an answer, they're often going to pass you up for the person that does give them an answer and shows them projects in a portfolio. Case in point, the job that I have, I've told this story many times with my manager. When I talked to my manager, I asked him after I got the job, and I said, okay, be honest with me. Was my resume good or bad? Was it better or worse than the other people you saw? What ultimately made you choose me? He said, my resume was actually originally in the HR reject pile. He went through, asked for the rejects, and there were several people he narrowed it down to. I was less qualified on paper than every other candidate. But when I got to the interview, it was the fact that I was literally on a Teams call. He saw code was compiling in the background. I was surrounded by Raspberry Pis in the middle of a project, and I was telling him I'm working on this, I'm working on that, I'm working on that. And I never told him an answer of no whenever he asked, do you have experience in this? The worst answer I gave is, I've never had the opportunity to be able to learn that, but I would love to be given the opportunity. Like, before I started, didn't know AWS. Now I'm the AWS subject matter expert at work for my team. I didn't know CrowdStrike. I didn't know Zscaler. I didn't know Proofpoint. I knew concepts about a lot of those other softwares, having dealt with other vendors like Bitdefender, Securance, Mimecast, and things like that. But, yeah. So that's the honest truth is, yeah, I know you're going to be like, I'm going to college and all this. College is just a piece of paper and a checkbox at this point in time. That's the honest truth. It sucks, but that's how it is. End up being a media server or render farm, says 2070 in it. Oh yeah, that's a good little GPU in there. I think we talked about that. For the price of Framework 13, you can live for 2 months in my country. Well, I don't know what country you live in. Nerdcast, what the frick, what? You're still, gorgeously beautiful, adorably, kindly cute lad. Well, appreciate that. What laptop do I use for school? So, I have an old IdeaPad, a Lenovo IdeaPad. It's actually a secondhand laptop that used to be my dad's. But my family knows if they have old computers, give it to me, and I will either repurpose it, or I will find someone who can make use out of it. I've given old computers to, like, children in need for a work-from-home computer. I remember when COVID started, I gave away, I think, close to like 50 different computers to different kids in the neighborhood because they were just not doing well financially with the family, so they couldn't afford to go out and buy a computer. So I just said, hey, here's a computer. I'll install Windows for it. You just tell me what they need, ultimately what they're doing it for, and I'll do whatever. Spent a little bit of money getting little inexpensive SSDs and stuff from Micro Center, or doing whatever I had to do to get it up to running. But yeah, in this case, it's just an IdeaPad 3, an older one. I reinstalled Windows 11 on it with Enterprise Edition, and upgraded it from the 8 gigabytes of memory, 4 gigabytes of soldered, to 12 gigabytes to max it out, and bought a new power adapter for it because the old one died. And it worked. It's perfectly fine for what I need for school. I mean, literally, you're just using it for the test taking. I have another laptop to do all that other stuff. Happy New Year, how are you? I'm doing alright. It's first stream of the year. My laptop was payment for a freelance gig 6-ish years ago, and it's been awesome since I put Catchy OS. Yeah, one of my laptops I got from a prior job was my Purism Librem 14. When I worked there with them, I had it running Pure OS, which is a Debian Purism had, and then I put Cubes OS on it when I left, and it works great. Does the Leap Me also look into, like, deep web for your info? Deep web, yes. Dark web, no. Dark web, totally a different beast looking into things. But Delete Me they have a list of hundreds of different data brokers, and they search through all of them. But you can also give them things that you found your information on, and they will remove it for you. I had to help my mom with some. Did you answer my question? What question did you have? Oh yeah, I think I answered that just now. Want to go into cybercrime and digital investigations. So I think if I'm not mistaken, you're talking about doing something more in law enforcement. I mean, there's plenty of positions out there for that. I just think it's funny people on TikTok talking about OPSEC but still got info public online. Yeah, there's a lot of people that do that, but there's also a lot of people that how do I say this nicely? They portray themselves as something they're not really. Like, there's a lot of people that over the years being on TikTok, I've noticed that portray themselves as experts when they don't really know jack. But there's also a lot of us experts that I'm friends with that we will admit when we don't know everything because things change all the time. We've been on streams together where I've been like, oh, okay, that's something new I learned. There'll probably be some more things that we learn together as we go through the review on stream section in a little bit. I'm more worried about personal attacks than the government at this point. Yeah, 6 half a dozen the other. USA college and work market is a joke nowadays. Yeah, pretty much. It is. It's a horrible market. That's what I'm dealing with. I need to pay the troll toll with the 4-year degree. I mean, I don't have a degree, but... I mean, I do a 2-year, but I'm working on my 4-year. But yeah. Don't remind me of COVID. I bought my PC in the middle of the crisis. I built mine in the middle of the crisis. I remember when the 3070 that I installed in my motherboard, my PC that I had in here before was not the one I ideally wanted, and prices were through the roof, and you basically had to go to Micro Center hours before they would drop midday, and you didn't even know what GPUs would drop. My dad, waited in line for me. Isn't it subscription-based, though? What? What's subscription-based? You see that Google is now allowing their AI to scan your emails to the point of downloading attachments? Alright, chat. Do you see this face? This is my shocked face that Google is going and scanning your attachments. This shouldn't be surprising anyone. Look, I told y'all about, there was a term growing up that Microsoft actually appropriately coined. It was called Scroogled, which was Google has historically gone through your personal information to be able to sell ads better on you. And that's one of the reasons why I've told people for years I do not want a Gmail, because Google is just going to be able to parse all the email stuff in there, and there's no real sense of privacy on there. And a lot of people are like, well, I can't use, YouTube without a Gmail account. People don't know you can make a Google account with your email and not have it tied to Gmail. That's how I do my content email. I have a whole other separate email that it's tied to, and there's no Gmail component to it. Well, no wonder Google income is 90% from ads. Yeah, that's pretty much how they historically have been done. So it's not shocking me at all that now that they've been doing all this AI research, that they're using AI to grab more information and do a lot more things automatically. Because now, instead of having to go through and basically, grab, parse your emails themselves for the text and figure things out, now they can have AI look through your attachments. So have fun with that. And that's why I recommend Proton, which, disclaimer, I am affiliated with. There's links in bio for that if anyone wants. But I do definitely advocate for Proton. Their security and privacy suite is probably the best one out there. And Proton's a non-profit, unlike Google, which at the end of the day, they're beholden to shareholders, not really you. Proton's at least had a history of, good security around. What about Proton's recent email fiasco? Every time there's an email fiasco, it's due to people not understanding email in general. If we're talking about, Proton, has given people's recovery email addresses away. You don't have to give a recovery email address away. But Proton only has access to the information that they need for recovery, because that's what a recovery email does. They have no access to anything at rest. And everyone that's like, they can read your emails. Here's the reality. Anyone running an email server can see emails potentially at the gateway. That's not an issue of Proton. That's an issue with the email protocol itself. Email is not a very secure medium. So unless you're PGP encrypting your emails, which I doubt many of you are going to do, and a lot of the people you're interacting with have set up as well, which you need to have both parties set up to be able to do PGP, there's not much you're going to be able to do about that, which is why we tell people ultimately, if you care that much about, privacy and security with your conversations, the best thing you can do, tell the person in person. If you can't do that, Signal or Matrix encrypted chats. That's pretty much the second best one. WhatsApp is more secure than email. Yeah, but WhatsApp also has metadata issues from, Meta. Proton is good, but they keep spamming me with trying to sell me the premium tier. Well, I already pay for the, Proton business one, because I, moved over from my private hosted email server, which is the only way if you really want to get around the email issues that I talked about. But that means you have to run your own email server, run your own infrastructure, and maintain that server. And friends don't let friends run their own email servers. It is a headache and a half. I ran my own email server for 10 years. And if you're like, well, it's not that bad, well, you have to make sure you have a clean IP. You have to make sure you have a static IP. A consumer ISP is not going to allow you to send over port 25, which is a requirement in order for your mail server to work. So you have to get a static IP on a business class internet going over there. Then on top of that, you have to make sure that all the companies you want to have receive your emails, Outlook and stuff like that, will be able to receive it. And a lot of times that means you have to go to Microsoft and then file for the smart DNS to be allowed. And I even had to send requests to AOL and Yahoo and all these other ones just to get my email server to be received in. It was a big pain. It's a lot different than it used to be about 20 years ago running an email server. Arduino or Raspberry Pi to begin work on a project for dev. Arduino and Raspberry Pi is an apples and oranges kind of developer platform. They're both great for beginner projects, but they're both great for different things. A Raspberry Pi is essentially a miniature, inexpensive, single-board computer that you can use to basically replicate what you could do on a lot of other computers. So it's just a mini computer. That's all it is. An Arduino is more for repetitive tasks that, you want to program in that are more reliable to control things, maybe not as complex with things. So it's not like a full computer, but like a 3D printer. Most of the time, those are running like an Arduino or something like that to be able to run the servos to do XYZ, temperature sensing, mesh-tastic boards use like ESP32. It's not really an Arduino, but, kind of is, but isn't. But the point being, it's an apples and oranges. They are two completely different use cases. If you're trying to do general computing needs for things, Raspberry Pi. If you're trying to set up some kind of, custom hardware to interface with that, that's a little bit better. Now, there is a way you can also tie an Arduino into a Raspberry Pi for other things, but they're both great. It's not that one's better than the other, it's more that one's better than the other given certain circumstances and situations and projects you're trying to build for. That's all it comes down to. Should you buy RAM right now? Well, it's only going to get more expensive now. That's why a few weeks ago, I bought all the RAM and stuff I needed for my projects, all the GPUs and stuff, and, it's probably going to get worse over the next few months, for at least a year or so, until Samsung says that they, finish upping, ramping up their production. So, I would definitely recommend, let me put it this way. It's want versus need. Do you need more RAM right now for something? Or is it a want right now? That's the question you ultimately have to ask yourself, because it is more expensive right now. Even DDR4 has gotten a lot more expensive than it was. I spent like $350 a few weeks ago just on 64 gigabytes of DDR4 ECC memory for my project, and that same memory, only a couple months before that, I think was like less than 200. So, yeah. What are your thoughts about Zima OS? I haven't played with it. If that's related to the Zima boards, I haven't really played with it. Not that they're bad or anything, it's just I have had no reason to really use them. I hear great things about Zima, do not get me wrong. It's just, Zima sits in this weird position for me personally of, like Raspberry Pi is like kind of your entry level, like low-end kind of thing, and there's also like Banana Pi and all those other different alternatives to it, like Rock 64, things like that. Zima like sits right above that, but also below like having a full-bore computer. And it's like in this weird niche for me, because if I were even starting to lean towards a Zima, I'm probably looking at a full-fledged computer. I'm not saying it's bad. I know a lot of people have used it for a lot of great projects. That's just a me thing rather than a issue for you. A lot of people out there, it's a great solution to start tinkering with home labbing and things like that. It just doesn't suit my needs personally. It's independent OS. I bought an AIO PC and installed on it, and it's awesome. That's awesome for a home lab. I haven't heard of it. Zima OS. But then again, there's so many different OSs out there. Zima OS. Oh. It's literally, yeah, it's made by the same people who make Zima. Not the, alcohol drink, the, Zima boards that we talked about. Yeah, it's the same people. They also have, like, Casa OS over here, but they have Zima OS. Yeah, simplified, focused, and open NAS OS, so it's more NAS focused. Now, for me personally, if I were using a NAS operating system, I'd probably be leaning more towards TrueNAS. That's just a me thing. It was formerly Casa OS, they just changed the name with an update. Oh, okay. You have that shirt too? Yeah, I have. I love this shirt. I got it at DEF CON a while ago. Hi, Chief Geek. Happy New Year to you and everyone else. Well, Happy New Year to you as well. All these abstraction OSs. Yeah, there are different things out there. But we have quite a few things in the review on stream section. So we have kind of been skimping on it for a bit. And what the hell is going on with my network connection right now? Hold on. The ISP is going a little derpy all of a sudden. Don't you love that? I start my stream, it works great, and then like last night it was the same thing and it got a little derpy. You got yours direct from the EFF directly, been donating to them for years. I generally buy mine when I go to DEF CON, because the EFF is there, and then I renew my membership there, because they also usually have their unique shirts for DEF CON that they usually sell only at DEF CON, or they may have extras that they sell, but yeah. I've been a gold member of theirs for years as well, and anytime we talk about the EFF, I always tell people to go donate to them. Not affiliated with them, they're just the best organization, I think, in the United States to protect our digital rights. What the hell is with the network connection all of a sudden? Don't you love it when the internet decides to go derp? Oh, latency seems to be good. Okay, so it's recovering all of a sudden. I don't know what the hell happened there. It's not your internet, Hans. My internet went derpy for a couple minutes itself. I saw dropped frames on my end. So that's not you, that was my internet. I'm hoping that when I upgrade the firewall, a lot of those issues go away. I have a feeling it's related to lack of AVX2 instructions for all the Suricata stuff that I'm doing for intrusion detection and intrusion prevention systems. I blame TikTok. Who knows, it could be TikTok. Could be my firewall. At best, the video is a half step behind audio. At worst, it's full blank. Yeah, should be better now. Worst case, you may just refresh the stream and it should work for you. I've been trying to track down these issues and I've so far got a lot of it fixed, but not everything fixed. Alright, so... a lot of people don't know the founder wrote a lot of Grateful Dead songs. Which founder? What are you talking about? Oh, the EFF? Somehow that tracks. Alright, let's get into the review on stream stuff. Give me a second here. Make sure the audio setup is working. Alright. we're gonna test this bad boy. The only reason I have to do this every stream, by the way, is because, well, I restart my, I like to, power down my computer when I'm done streaming. Okay, so, hold on. I'm not hearing audio on my end. Takes a little unplug and unplug in sometimes. Nope. Getting it to restart Pipewire. John Barlow. Okay. What's up, inebriated? Been playing around with Linux Mint because you introduced me to Linux in Gen. I love it so far. That's great to hear. Okay. I guess I gotta kill it completely. It was really going derp. Luckily, I made a nuclear reset for audio issues. The only reason I do this is because it's a streamer thing, as I've talked about many times.
Front, left.
There we go. Alright. So now let me restart Firefox, because the nuclear option tends to, kill that. Alright, let's open up Firefox again. Move these things over. What's a tech stream without tech issues, huh? Alright, we're going to mute that tab, move that over, create, go over here. Funny how YouTube's saying, oh yeah, we're not getting enough data. No, you're getting plenty of data. You're just being derpy. And then let me restart the chat screen over here. Normally I don't have to do a full nuclear reset, especially when I just boot up the computer. Oh, also, I did confirm Rocket League still works on Linux. What is with the network connection all of a sudden? God, the network is really bad all of a sudden today. Okay. I don't know what the hell's happening with my network connection today. Okay, so I'm trying to see if the connection's going to level out here. I know it's not a loose physical connection because I've played with that a little bit, but wait, wonder if like, TikTok restarted itself. Is it TikTok? TikTok might be the problem here. Setter versus YouTube platform. Also, yes, your connection is off. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my internet today. I wonder if it's related to the cold snap that we had going on. But it is what it is. What's up, Vit? Oh yeah, so apparently, there's a new Lara Croft game that's coming out. I just saw that, news. So... That should be interesting. Haven't played a Lara Croft game in a minute. Which is good. Okay, everything's back. So let's get to the content. Turn off the background music here.
Is this your...
Okay, so this video is Steam just destroyed NVIDIA's plans. Who put this one up? Oh, that was a video apparently I put on so that we could review. I did that apparently the day before Christmas, so yeah, we got some things to catch up with on the review on stream. Somehow your TikTok stream is a full 45 seconds ahead of Twitch. What the hell? The hell? There might be some buffering issues there. Because it's all coming out of the same OBS. Like, I'm not using TikTok Live Studio or anything. So, weird. Yeah, I think it's the weather's messing with the connection. How cold is it there? Oh yeah, I forget. I disabled Siri. Unless I log in. What's the temperature? It is -5 right now. -5 in civilized units, to be clear. So, Celsius. We use metric around here, because it's the better measurement system. I know I just started a civil war in the chat, but I am not on America's side on this argument. -45°C. Damn! I'm in Arkansas and everything is fine for me. Well, yeah, because you're in Arkansas, but nobody wants to be in Arkansas.
Making me pay you to stand at the cash register? What is the meaning of this? Have you gone off the deep end?
For China!
What's the best news gamers could get during the holidays, you know, other than zero sales and price increases? How about a nice announcement from NVIDIA that there's going to be an hourly cap on how long you can play video games? Yeah.
Wait, what? Is this related to their NVIDIA game streaming service that they had? If so, that's really dumb. Like, you're giving people a subscription service and then saying, yeah, we want you all to do gaming in the cloud, but you can only game this much. So what's the advantage of doing it in the cloud, then? You hate your SAA tools. So do I. Everything should be metric. Down with the standard measurement system. Standard
Just
American.
love hearing that news? Hey, you don't own anything, and you will be paying 10
It's
times
30
as much
degrees
as you
Fahrenheit.
did,
What is that,
and you will
-1?
Enjoy it like Triple H expects you to enjoy the slop that he's writing every single week for Monday Night Raw. This was always the future that we had.
My God, I haven't heard
It was
Triple
too
H
good to be
references in a
true.
minute.
Developers make software and they sell it to you in a physical form that you can preserve and play whenever you want. That sort of freedom did not provide ultra wealthy corporations the type of security that they want to invest in long term.
No, we don't want you to use your hardware. We only make money one time.
Perfect opportunity for companies to tell you, hey, you don't even need hardware to play games anymore, so don't worry about buying hardware. Rely on our servers. Stop collecting games. Stop emulating. Please rely on us. Because once you're completely dependent on our services, you can't escape, you can't go anywhere else, because ownership is no longer actually a thing.
You will own nothing and you shall be happy. We've seen this theme time and time again. Also, boo!
Actual hardware will be something that only exists for big tech companies. Advanced tech, for the average consumer, might end up fully being a thing of the past. I mean, of course, I'm talking about the most extreme possibilities here, but knowing how big tech operates, knowing what the industry's trying to do right in front of our own faces, treating us like we're stupid cattle who need to be guided right into the kennel for our own good. So, you know, I really hope you're comfortable not owning things enough as it is, because it's about to get even worse. And yet somehow,
How can it get any
may
worse
end
than
up
that?
being our saving grace during a period like this. Welcome back to Fratanga Plays, the only place where you're asked to keep your shoes on, but you can partake of any substance in front of me. It's fine. Now, I'm not
My shoes are off.
be too greedy here, but I just want to say thank you so much for the amount of support this channel has gotten this year. Like, we have really blown up, and I'm really hoping, we're running out of time, so probably won't happen, if we could reach 120,000 subs, so I can do more stuff with the face cam. I don't know, if you want to see me doing soy face, let's hit 120,000 subs. And don't forget to tune in to the streams every Sunday. We have the best of times. All right, without wasting your time, news came from Nvidia that left so many gamers concerned, including myself. The very same company that I bought a bunch of GPUs from over the years might end up being the very same company that comes to take all of that freedom away from me. Believe me, so many companies are dying to take away your game ownership and your freedom
Free fix in this economy
and operate it. So GeForce Now, you may have heard of it. It's Nvidia's streaming service. I mean,
yeah, I know they're doing the GeForce Now, but here's the double edge of this sword. I know companies are trying to do this whole, like, push you into a subscription model. I don't think they realize the knock-on effects several years down the road, because we already have a problem right now. Oh, excuse me. Where we have people entering the IT and cybersecurity workforce now, and I've seen this firsthand, where I've met people that said, oh, the first time I actually really used a full computer, like Windows or Linux or even Mac in many cases, is when they went to college. Like, they've gone their entire elementary, middle school, and high school years at most using an iPad or a Chromebook. And now they're having to understand what a full computer is, and they now have to work so hard on that steep learning curve to be able to get to where they need to be, that employers expect them to be. And that's going to be a problem, because it's like, well, like he was saying, the hardware is going to be only for the tech companies to use. But if they don't get to use the computers before they're actually in the tech space, or tech workforce, how are they going to get prepared for that? You get what I'm saying? Is this the reason NVIDIA is ending production on low to mid-range graphics cards so users can pay for cloud game streaming? That's been one of the hypotheses, as well as the fact that Intel and AMD have really been fighting for that low to mid-range on GPUs for the past few years, and there's a lot of competition at that low end. And NVIDIA is getting very complacent with the fact that they are the high-end GPU manufacturer. Should restart this Twitch TikTok stream over here. Hold on. See if that levels out. Nope. Yeah, stopping TikTok for a second apparently fixed the glitchiness of the stream. Imagine that. Oh, I purposely stopped the TikTok stream for a minute because I wanted to see something, because TikTok tends to be the most problematic stream and tends to mess up the other stream. But anyways, I was saying, Intel and AMD have been fighting for the low-end GPU market, and NVIDIA has been complacent at the mid to high-end where they've been doing their GPUs. That's why, if you remember many years ago, NVIDIA used to have a 30 series card. Now the lowest you get is a 50 series card. And they haven't even been releasing the 50 series at the same time. Like, if I remember, the 5000 series was released with a 5060 as the low end. And then I had to wait for a 5050 to be released. So that way I could put a 5050 in my stream box because I didn't need a 5060. I just needed a 5050 because I was looking at AV1 encoding. And otherwise, it was a mostly lateral move going from a 3050 to a 5050 just with AV1 encode. Same amount of VRAM, relatively faster, newer generation of NVENC and stuff like that. But overall, pretty much the same. But yeah. I think in the long term, NVIDIA is really just cutting off the nose to spite the face, and trying to appease shareholders. Because as we know, in this economy, we must appeal to the shareholder. I think that's why Valve has been having better plays, because Valve is privately owned, They're not beholden to shareholders that then will dictate how they operate the company, which is why you're seeing Microsoft make direct decisions that are really horrible. It's why you've seen Apple not really take adventurous takes anymore. Because when Steve Jobs was around, there were more risks they were willing to take. They even fired Steve Jobs because he wasn't doing as well, and then they brought him back. Whole other story. Yeah, you were right. TikTok is the problem. TikTok is the one that keeps having issues with the streaming for some reason. I don't know if something's up with their servers or whatever, but it keeps... I'm looking at the stats over here. It's flapping. That's the issue. So all I can say, TikTok people, I'm sorry. I'm on other platforms. Simulcast. There's the purple site, the red site, the green site. You have options. But anyway, but yeah, NVIDIA has not really cared about their core audience for many years and been focusing more on the enterprise and data center space.
Everybody has one these days. I would argue that they have one of the more stable services out there, though. From what I have seen, I've never subbed to it and I've never used it, but I have seen other people use it. And it's just surprising how infinitely better it is than PS Now or Game Pass. Not good enough to make me ditch actual, downloads or actual games existing on my drives. I could see this being useful if I played video games on the go, but I'm not that addicted to video games.
Same.
I don't need to play them in every single little setting. I'm okay.
Same reason I don't have a Steam Deck either.
As should you. But whatever, these streaming services exist, and they don't exist out of convenience. GeForce exists with the goal of replacing how video games are played the way we play them now. As we can see here, NVIDIA puts 100-hour monthly limit on all GeForce Now subscriptions. NVIDIA has announced that starting
100 hours a month. Are you kidding me? Hold on. Let's do a little math here. Okay. 100 divided by 30. Okay, so that's roughly 3.3 hours per day, which one could argue is a reasonable enough time to game. But let's say you're in the position of, hey, I've got a week off of PTO. Not that I personally would do this. This isn't my cup of tea, but I know people that have done this. And they're like, hey, I'm taking a week off. I'm going to go do this raid with my guild. So there are people that are doing like World of Warcraft or what other games that they're doing like 20, 40-hour sessions or so in like one go. That's eating up your chunk there. And I hypothesize a big reason why, they actually say it down here. Since months are averaged by to about 30.437 days, any playtime, exceeding the 100-hour limit is rounded up to the next 15-hour block, potentially leading to charge if someone wants more playtime. Oh! So, they're going to charge you more. Okay, under the standard performance tier, which costs $9.99 per month, after the 100-hour playtime is reached, users can buy extra 15-hour blocks for $2.99 each. For the ultimate tier, priced at $19.99 per month, additional 15-hour blocks are available at $5.99 each. Okay, so that isn't too bad. I was led to the understanding of, it was like, oh, it's just capped, period. Esports gamers spending 60 hours a week. Okay, yeah, so if you're an esports gamer, that's a good point. What am I doing with that? 60 times... There's 4 weeks in a month, it's 240. So let's say you were just doing the basic tier right there. So that would be 10 blocks, roughly. So 10 blocks, it's roughly an extra $30 a month that you're putting into that. So let me put it this way. You pay $10 a month, you're an esports gamer, you pay $40 a month. If you do 6, the premium, the ultimate tier, which probably a lot of e-gamers are going to do, at $20 per month, that then turns into $80 a month. On the surface, that seems reasonable, but it's a way to nickel and dime you, and I have a feeling it's not just going to stop there.
1st, 2026, each GeForce Now cloud gaming subscription will be limited to 100 hours of playtime per month. The company is implementing its long-lasting promise revealed in 2024, with the option for users to purchase additional playtime as needed. That's right. If you want to play video games as long as you want, you're no longer able to just do that freely. They are...
Okay, now, another pause here for a sec. I just had a thought while I was doing this. How are they going to do that? Like, is it you're going to be in the middle of a play session, you hit that 100-hour mark, it's going to stop your game and have, like, a prompt that says, do you approve more game time here? And you have to click yes, and then you can spawn back into the game and you're dead because, you know, you are in a game that doesn't technically pause. Like, say you're in Elden Ring, and that happens. Because Elden Ring, from my understanding, is famous for when you hit the pause menu, the game is still operating.
Charging you to play
Your credit card
video
becomes
games
ghost charges.
by the hour now. Or, I mean, at least when you hit the 100-hour mark. But yay, you can buy an extra 15 hours for just $3. For the ultimate tier priced at $19.99 per month, additional 15-hour blocks.
Oh, this is something that I just noticed here. So, for instance, playing around 3 hours per day, approximately 91 hours per month, remains within the base fee. Okay, but playing for 4 hours daily results in an extra cost of $15.97 on the performance tier or $31.97 on the ultimate tier. Imagine you're a parent. Okay, let's think about this. You're a parent. You want to give your kid a gaming experience. You hear about the service. You think it's going to save you some money. Your kid finishes their homework. They have 4 hours to game after every day, plus weekends. Now, let's assume that you are, you know, a really bad parent and you don't encourage Timmy to actually hit the gym or actually go out and touch grass. That's a whole other discussion. Yeah, that's a problem. And if parents are already complaining about their cards being ghost charged for Robux or whatever the hell those are called and all that, this is going to be a bigger problem.
Are available for $5.99 each.
GeForce Cloud Streaming. It is still counting your playtime even when you pause the game. Oh my god!
To about 30.437 days.
So if you have the game paused, so your bathroom time is still counted. That's a little bit effed. A lot of people are going to sail the high seas. Well, you have to understand, how can one sail the high seas if they can't even afford the hardware to run the game on the high seas? And even then, I'm going to be honest with you, I wouldn't recommend that, because that's how one of the biggest vectors of where malware is actually being distributed is through pirated video games and pirated software. It used to be adult content. That's not really the case anymore. The biggest vectors that I've seen now are religious websites, because a lot of those religious websites don't tend to be maintained very well, especially of the Christian ones. I'm just being honest. I'm not being biased here. This has been my professional experience, okay? I've told y'all the stories of when I've had to, do IT for churches. Whereas, like, synagogues and mosques tend to know they're going to get hate thrown towards them, so they actually invest in their infrastructure. It's a really interesting situation that I've seen professionally. So they buy and hoard all the computer parts, forcing users to use their expensive cloud services. I mean, maybe?
100-hour limit is rounded up to the next 15-hour block, potentially leading to extra charge. If someone wants more playtime, for instance, playing around 3 hours per day, approximately 91 hours per month, remains with the base fee.
Okay, that's just what we were just talking about.
4 hours daily, about 122 hours per month, results in extra costs of approximately $15 on the performance tier or the $31 on the ultimate tier. How does this not sound insane to the people who came up with this concept? I get it. Servers cost money to host and run.
Okay, that DGX Spark he's showing, that's not really a gaming machine, that's an AI box. Although, let's do another equation here. So, $32 a month, let's assume you're doing 4 hours, okay, on the ultimate tier. I can save money now and then, one can eat, getting money in the daytime, even count it when I sleep. Wake up to getting bread, bitch, I do this for the streets, ADHD.
Darko Demon 2021 just resubbed for 39 months.
Thank you for the sub there, Darko. Thank you for the tier 3 sub. How you doing, buddy? But yeah. So think about it this way. You do the NVIDIA Ultimate thing they're doing. You finally fixed it. Fixed what? Oh yeah, that. The stream alerts and all that. Yeah, kind of. Stream Elements is kind of iffy though when the music goes through and all that. So sometimes it still cuts off. I'm nagging support about that, and I'm kind of leaning towards just doing my own custom setup and alerts and everything, because I'm getting upset with Stream Elements for quite a few things lately. I still need them for some functions, but I'm moving more towards moving my own stuff. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So, with this NVIDIA, GeForce Now service, if you do the Ultimate tier, and you do 4 hours of gaming, you are incurring an extra $384 per year. Okay, that's on top of, so you're looking at $624 per year for 4 hours of gameplay on the performance level plan. Okay, let's extrapolate that for the decent life of a computer you were to build. In 4 years, doing the ultimate tier, it would cost this much. That's how much it would cost, from what I'm understanding. Does GeForce Now have a free tier? Okay, but free tier is limited sessions, 1 hour, up to 1080p. So, yeah, you have to rejoin the queue. You only get about an hour at a time. It's still cheaper than buying an equivalent NVIDIA card over 4 to 5 years. Not really. If you actually look at, like, total build costs for a system, go to Micro Center. And I'm not talking about getting, like, the highest end GPU, okay? Let's say you get, like, what are the specs they're giving you? Okay, let's look at the specs. The current specs are, in the ultimate tier, you're getting a 4080 or a 5080. So that's roughly, yeah, you can build a system with that for this price. And the difference is you can use that system for everything you want it to do. And if you're in the performance, tier here, you can definitely build a system. So the performance one was, let's see, NVIDIA GPUs are 5,000 USD now. Are they? Let me check Micro Center's website. Micro Center. Let me see. Hold on. All right, computers, PC parts, graphics cards, GTX 5000 series. No. Not seeing him that. Let's put the highest price on. It's probably going to throw in the RTX Pros. So 5090, that Astral's like 3400. 5090s are always going to be a lot. 5080s are 1900 over there, but that's like the top end one. Yeah, 5080s are about 1300. Still a little expensive, don't get me wrong. Let me look at what my GPU is going for. Is that the exact one I got? Yeah, that's the exact one I got. So it's gone up by, I think $20 since I bought it. Go on Amazon. I'm gonna have to do that on the other screen. But see, I don't buy my GPUs off of Amazon. Let me see. 5070 Ti. I'll look at the GPU I got. No. Same exact price as Micro Center. Let me see if I can bring that over. Yeah. Same price. Same exact price. It's about $20 more than when I bought it, but it's the same price. Well, a 5090, not everyone's going to buy a 5090. And even then, 3,000, not 5,000. Are they more expensive? Yeah. But even Gamers Nexus talked about how the 5090 has been way above MSRP for years. What is the SSD price over there? It's very expensive over here in Norway. I can check. Alright, so PC parts, drives and storage, internal solid state drives, it's definitely a little bit more. A 2 terabyte runs you about 230 for a 990 Pro. If you want to get the latest 9100 Pro, 255. You're running about close to 500 for 4 terabytes, so it's a little up there. It's increasing tomorrow to 5,000 from 2,000. Well, that's why I was telling all of you to buy your shit now. It'll be interesting to see what my 5070 Ti costs in a few months.
That they don't cost so much that you need to
I do want that NVIDIA DGX Spark, by the way. I want that.
We know this.
It's like a $4,000 unit.
The entire gaming industry has been running on servers for a long ass time. Server fees are a made up thing. They don't actually fucking exist. These corporate cocksuckers created a brand new fee because it's not enough for you to just subscribe to their service. It's not enough for you to buy their cards. It's not enough for you to financially support them in any way at the moment, as they are now literally like...
I just saw your message, Darko.
I guess when you get that
you busy?
big,
Yeah, I'm streaming.
People just for playing past 100 hours. I just...
Oh, I needed to keep that chat up because I have other stuff to pull up
later. My
later.
head cannot wrap around this level of greed. We used to joke about how one day gaming companies are going to charge you for every single time you press the power button.
I really want those little DGX Sparks. I want to sit one in my rack, but they're like $4,000 for those suckers. But I could do some really large LLMs with that.
On your console, or every single time you drag a mouse. It was real funny when we used to joke about that, but then one day it happened. One day they started charging you to finish their own games. Like, I don't mean you beating them, but for them to actually...
These are interesting. You got PyTorch, the head of PyTorch was there, the co-founder of Olama.
Go in and update and finish the game with quote-unquote expanded content. Then they started charging you to play your own damn games online on the internet you already pay for. Then they started charging you for the very clothing of video game characters. Something that used to just be able to unlock naturally in a game. Or then Nintendo started charging people money to access the microphone built into their console. Or charging them so they could use a webcam to play with their friends.
Wait, was
online.
Microsoft actually doing that?
Started charging you for cloud saves If they can get away with all of that, and Nvidia is gonna get away with this, it's not some grand conspiracy theory, it's reality. It's not fear-mongering, it's happening. It's destined to. Extra lives will cost money, save states will cost money, loading the game will cost money, being able to use—
Why are you having a robot paint? Like, why can't you just paint? I don't want to buy artwork that was done by a robotic arm. At that point, make her print once and then just give me a print of it and call it a day. Jeez. Oh, the Kinect? Okay, yeah, the Kinect.
controller will cost money. All of that will cost money one day. We may not live to get to see it, but we're living during the earliest stages.
Wait. Hans is saying Nintendo is charging people to use the video chat feature on the Switch. Wait, what? You're charging for that? For the same thing we can do for free on Discord, on my Matrix server, on goddamn Skype? I mean, I know Skype doesn't exist anymore, but you get my point. Okay, I have to look this up. Okay. Trying to see where they charge you for it. Chat, if somebody has a better link. I see this when I did a Google thing. Nintendo Switch 2 camera. Okay. I'm sure that's not what we're talking about. I thought, like, there's a camera in the system. Am I just a moron here? Am I looking at the wrong thing? What am I looking for? Because I see game chat. It's the Switch Online subscription. It's a subscription called Switch Online. Bear with me. I have not used a Nintendo thing in God knows forever. Nintendo Switch 2. Oh, there it is. Is that the Nintendo Switch Online? Okay. Try it for free. $20 a year. Okay, I mean, per year. But hold up. You can't do any of this stuff without the online plan? Is this the thing we're talking about, chat? I mean, let me put it this way. On one hand, I can understand why they do this. I can understand why people are upset. So let me play devil's advocate here for a second, all right? Bear with me. Sony used to do PlayStation Now for free. Because they didn't get really much money out of it, they didn't maintain the infrastructure nearly as well as Microsoft Xbox Live. PlayStation Now, it was very common it would get attacked. There were many times when it went down. And then eventually, Sony started charging from my understanding. Infrastructure isn't free. Okay? They're building this infrastructure up for people to use. And ultimately, look at the price here.
And just
Nope. Not going back to the video yet. Let's look at the price here. Base function, $20 a year. Still not bad. Okay? Family membership there, $35 a year. Not all that bad when you consider up to 8 Nintendo accounts. So you have like several kids, you can have all one account from my understanding. Even at the $80, it's not that bad. I can understand people saying, I bought this device, I shouldn't have to pay more. I could understand that if you weren't using Nintendo's own service. If they had a way for you to dial in for, like, say, oh, you can connect Discord, then they were charging you for using Discord on it, I would have an issue with that. But you're using their service. They have to have infrastructure. They have to pay to support all of that. And ultimately, I was expecting like it was going to be like $20 a month. If it was like $20 a month, okay, chat, you would have a point. But $20 a year? $35 a year for a family membership up to 8 accounts? $50 a year for the expansion plan? $80 if you have up to 8 in accounts? It's not all that bad. Now, I will say the problem that I do have, though, is the games you can't buy physically and own them, so when Nintendo Switch ultimately does get their service turned off, those games won't work anymore. That, I think, is the problem.
At the tiers, it's laughable, too. They want to categorize and separate every single thing gamers have once been able to do freely for decades as specific tiers that they can monetize. As you can see here, there's the free basic rig. By the way, it's got ads. You know, if you want to play your games, there's going to be ads in them. Like, this is how insanely greedy this is. Like, game devs are not satisfied. The industry is not satisfied with you just merely purchasing games anymore. So for anybody who tells you, buy your games, support the developers, they're all full of shit. A purchase is
not
clearly
one account,
not
one
enough.
account per person.
Now,
Well, it says 8 accounts.
Companies running ads in the games that they make, your purchase means nothing. You get 1 hour gaming sessions, yay, up to 1080p resolution, up to 60 FPS. Not that that matters when there's a shit ton of latency, but okay. And then no priority.
Yeah, that kind of makes
Then, of
sense.
course, there's the half price.
If there's a lot of latency, that is going to be a problem.
Performance one, that's $5 a month. Hey, but don't worry, no ads for your $5. And you get access to 4,000 games. And some of them you can install, some. And you get 6 hours up to 1440p, up to 60 FPS. Then you get the ultimate package.
But if you do 6-hour sessions a day, you're going over your quota.
4K and up to 240 FPS in 8 hours. But again, what the fuck is the point of 4K and what the hell is the point of 240 FPS when you're streaming a game? You will not really see the benefits of that when you're streaming a fucking video game.
I don't know how that works with tying your browser into doing all that. I think that's a point that he's making. Why does the dude sound like he's a little upsetty spaghetti? I don't know. This was a video I came across. I haven't followed this creator.
Hell falls for this shit. The only games that are even worth your time here are the ones you can install. Everything
It was
else has to be
Fratanga Plays.
will not really get a real benefit from anyone's hardware or the hardware running it on the servers. Here's the worst part is that on top of all of this, the perfect storm has been brewing for Nvidia for a long time. Actually, it's the perfect storm for all tech companies, and that's how the AI bubble is affecting the pricing of RAM. There's no price.
The way this guy talks kind of annoys me a little bit, I will be honest.
But the price can be too high for the average consumer, who's gonna one day ask themselves, what's the point in buying RAM that's basically the same exact price as my PC? I can just stream GeForce Now from my laptop and never spend $1,000+ on any PC components ever again. Hell, I don't have to buy a $1,000 console. I don't have to buy a $1,000 handheld. Let's rely on Nvidia. You know, I got a chance to watch the Joe Rogan podcast with the
You do any
Nvidia
bug hunting?
CEO
No.
Jensen. Now, I did enjoy the whole episode. A lot of interesting talk. I didn't know about Nvidia's history with Sega and how that basically kickstarted their entire legacy.
Yeah, I've heard that story a lot, even before the
About
Joe
way,
Rogan thing.
Jensen tries to humanize the fact that he's a corporate billionaire CEO who suffers and goes through emotions just like the rest of us. The man is well-spoken, he's intelligent, he's forward-thinking, he plans out stuff ahead of time, his mind is operating on it 24/7.
Sega was great.
We're witnessing
The
is being
Dreamcast
planned.
was
I
ahead of
wouldn't
the
be
time,
surprised
definitely.
if Jensen
It's a
has thought of this
bummer it
over
went
10
downhill
years
like it
ago
did.
and has been working endlessly to achieve it. Yeah, sure, it's sentimental and emotional when Jensen sits there and tells you about how their gaming cards and the consumer base helped them get here, but You're going through a post-consumer era right now. You don't need the consumer. They're easily discarded. They're not where your bread comes from anymore. And so for that very reason, there are rumors that Nvidia is going to be cutting back production of their GPUs. We know there's
Yeah, I've heard the rumor about cutting
40% left to continue investing in AI. Now, I wish it solely boiled down to angry computer nerds like me can't have hardware at affordable prices anymore. But it goes far beyond that. These companies are encroaching on your own personal freedom.
As an NVIDIA user,
Your
F you, NVIDIA. If you could have AMD right now, I hope
Sorry,
they
yo,
would hope
it's
they
like,
go
fuck,
bankrupt.
Dude, I'm so stressed. I worked my fucking ass off.
If it wasn't for the damn
so did
CUDA
you. I know
requirements that I have for some of my projects,
watching me,
I'd be on
the other side of
AMD.
that monitor. I know you work your ass off. I know you bust every day so that you can save up money and then work to build your PC and then work to set it up so then that you can not work. I know the struggle. We've all been through it. Sometimes you felt like, hey, all my work was validated because my purchase just gave me access to a brighter future of being able to do things that I want in the
And let's also talk about another issue with them trying to, you know, make game streaming more of a service too. Look at the issues I've just been having with my streaming performance just today due to weather issues with my ISP. I don't want to be in a situation where, I have no internet. I want to go play Skyrim. Oh, I can't play Skyrim because I have no internet. Think about that. That makes no sense. I don't want to support NVIDIA because of what they're doing. I don't want to support them either, but it's a matter of I need it. Yeah, he's not annoying. He's just like the nails on a chalkboard. It's ASMR for people who like cringe stuff. Yeah, I don't know if I want to continue watching it. It's a lot of the things that we've been talking about. But yeah, it's like nails on a chalkboard for sure. But we can at least move on to the next thing that we had before we go into another video. So apparently there's a Ghost Locker tool that uses Windows App Locker to neutralize and control EDR. Hey Chief, get better internet. I wish it were as simple as that. But here's the problem I've noticed. Like, okay, ISPs don't want to deploy fiber in existing neighborhoods. They want to put it in new neighborhoods. I have literally noticed everyone around me, like several blocks away from me, there's fiber availability. But then in my entire neighborhood, for like between whatever streets, I'm not going to say, like there's thousands of houses that do not have fiber access. And I'm not alone in that. That's how it is in a lot of cities. But yeah. Doesn't Steam offline mode exist? It does. But if you're using the GeForce Now thing, you don't have that luxury because in order to play the game, you have to be on the internet to have that hardware process it to stream the video game to you. Your thoughts on Meta's metaverse only having around 900 users? What's the metaverse? Is that their little craptastic little chat thing or VR chat kind of thing? That's not surprising to me. Meta has been kind of not been doing a lot of things great. Based on existing telephone pole infrastructure in the central office you're fed out of. Yeah. In my hometown, TELUS wanted to take over from a local provider. The city only approved it once they agreed to give last mile fiber to everyone for free. I wish they would at least do that here, but yeah. Anyway, about this new Ghost Locker tool. It's using Windows App Locker to neutralize and control EDR. So that's endpoint detection and response. So that is basically what we call antivirus these days, because antivirus is really antiquated. Conventional antivirus runs off definitions and doesn't work that well. EDR, basically what it does is it looks at the behavior of an application and usually maps it to the MITRE attack framework on what the actual application is doing, rather than signatures looking for malware. It's looking at what applications are doing to detect malware, so it can catch things that may not have signatures in the wild. So this is a new tool named Ghost Locker. It's been released, and basically they're using the built-in Windows App Locker feature. If I recall, that's their sandboxing feature. And yeah, that program is blocked by group policy for more. So they can use the group policy to essentially lock out your antivirus from being able to work. And in this case, Microsoft Defender Antivirus Service. Great. And just so you know, there is a difference between Microsoft Defender that you have pre-installed on your machine versus the Microsoft EDR that you can buy as a service for businesses. The music is auto-voluming really weird. What do you mean? I've been trying to tweak it for a while. My colleagues and I did a test on Palo Alto's Cortex XDR to see if it would detect ADCS abuse. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Yeah, a lot of them don't. It's loud then low. Oh, that's because it's going off of my voice. It ducks the audio whenever it detects me speaking. But yeah, a lot of EDRs fall short. CrowdStrike, I think, does better than most, but it still misses a lot. Yeah, like, the interesting thing is we found my laptop was accidentally hitting the AD servers thousands of times a second and was causing AD issues, and I'm like, so why did our security not detect that? I didn't even do anything intentional. It was one of the ITDR tools we were testing out happened to be doing that, and they're like, well, you know, they were like pointing the finger at me, and I'm like, hold up. That happened on a test laptop, testing software that we were doing a POC on. So why are you getting mad at me? And they're like, well, you didn't know it was running on your laptop. I'm like, bullshit. I knew exactly what was running on my laptop. I gave you a list of everything. If anything, we should be asking the question now, why did our defenses on our Active Directory not work to prevent this? And two, why is it the vendor that we're using happens to have ITDR software that's doing exactly this kind of thing that could be, you know, in other cases seen as malicious? Oh, you're a mod here now? I feel the power. Oh yeah, I think I did set you to be a mod because you came in. Music gets really loud. I mean, yeah. I can lower it a little bit. And where's the background music? There we go. A little bit more. Sales keeps pushing Vectra AI as well, which literally labels workstations as printers. If we really needed a separate NDR solution, which is why Microsoft or Palo Alto not offering it as a separate product, or I am missing something. Really. It's so much better here on Kick. Whatever, buddy. It's there if you want to use it. Crucially, the tool does not block EDR kernel drivers. .sys. These drivers continue to load, register callbacks, and collect telemetry. So this is kind of interesting that it basically is using App Locker. Okay, unlike traditional EDR bypasses that attempt to exploit kernel drivers or perform complex memory manipulation, Ghost Locker leverages the inherent authority granted to system administrators. The tool utilizes App Locker, Microsoft's application whitelisting framework. Oh, so it's not the sandboxing one. That's a totally different thing. It's the whitelisting framework to enforce deny rules against EDR executables. Ooh. This is fun. Just another case in point in how Microsoft doesn't really think all the way through on a lot of their security features. I get that we use Microsoft because of compatibility reasons, but yeah, it's another nightmare. All right. We got a video here from Savvy Nick, which is some more Linux news stuff. Safer kernels, faster desktops, and Mozilla's AI blunder and more. So we've talked about the Mozilla AI blunder where the new CEO came in and is like, hey, we want to be a modern AI browser. And I'm like, you don't know your fucking audience, do you? Did you see the recent Rainbow Six Siege hack? Yeah, I saw it. I don't play Rainbow Six. I didn't really care to look much into it. It happens. Crispy. Question. Is that the question? Okay.
So many new releases and updates here before the end of the new year. Let's start off with one of the biggest news stories of the last week, as Mozilla's new CEO, Anthony, is taking over the Mozilla Corporation as of December 16th, 2025, and he said,
"Oh, brother, this guy stinks!"
I just wanted to get that out there.
The next chapter for the company is going to be about trusted software and mention some goals and direction as the company looks like it's going to shift Mozilla Firefox into the AI landscape, as there was mention of making Mozilla Firefox into a modern AI browser. This sparked quite a bit of backlash. I do have a video dissecting this entire thing. Cue that up as the next video, but we get a pretty large update on a Reddit post nonetheless. An open letter to the Mozilla's new CEO, Firefox doesn't need AI, it needs leadership that listens.
Yep, that's the thing, definitely. Please don't destroy Mozilla. Well, I'm already looking at going to Florper Zen browser, which I know is based on Firefox, because I'm tired of the direction of Firefox, and until Ladybird and or Servo become a bit more production capable, yeah, I definitely. Is it worth going for a CS degree at the age of 26? Now with all the AI... VTuber says ComSci is not computer engineering, it's a math degree at its core. Yeah, that's a good point. Now, I would also say this, people need to stop making the argument of, well, AI is gonna, do this, so, like, is it worth it? People are still going to need jobs for the foreseeable future. AI isn't going to be able to replace a lot of these jobs as much as people think. I know all these executives that barely can write a hello world in Python or even HTML are out here saying, oh, AI is going to replace and displace a lot of the workforce. It's not going to be like that. It's more so what I'm seeing in the job market right now is those that are learning to use AI to do their job more effectively versus those who don't use AI. And they want the people that use AI to do their job more effectively. So it's more learning to use those tools than it is that your job will be replaced. I mean, if you get into a job that actually is programming a lot of the AI frameworks and security frameworks around AI and these different things, there's still going to be jobs around that. That's actually a lot of people when they're like, hey, cybersecurity, are you worried about it with AI? And I'm like, no, there's actually a lot of job listings specifically around AI architecture, AI security. And there's all new suites of products and stuff we have to worry about with that. Catching up. It's more like to get a job. Well, here's the thing. Degrees don't get jobs, they get HR interviews. A degree is merely just a checkbox for HR to see. I know a lot of people that have jobs that don't have degrees because they've applied themselves and they have portfolios of open source, lots of home labs, stuff like that. I don't even have a bachelor's. I'm working on my bachelor's to get that checkbox crossed off, but that's a different thing. But yeah, thoughts on Brave's Leo? I don't really use Brave all that much. At least Brave isn't, hasn't been bullshitting people the way Firefox has, for quite a few years. Firefox's issue, Mozilla Foundation to be specific, has been that they're not listening to the community. They haven't been for a few years, and they've been making quite a few blunders. And it's getting to the point where even I'm like, I can't really excuse this anymore. Explain what Ladybird is if you can. Okay, so Ladybird, here, I will pull it up over here. Ladybird is a whole other browser that is coming out that is not based on Chromium or based on Firefox. It is its own independent web browser backed by a nonprofit. So they're planning to be open source. So you can actually see it right here. It's still in testing, but you can see there's a lot of interest. I mean, 57.3 thousand stars. You've got quite a few people developing for it. It's still got more work that needs to be done, but it is something that I can definitely see in the future. They do have a Discord, but if you also look at the sponsors, it's got some serious backing. You've got Shopify, Cloudflare, Proton is even on there. Trying to poke out some other names here that might be worthwhile. Yeah, those are probably the only ones that are like, you know, you're going to know what they are for sure. Some of these other ones maybe other people know about, but you have a company there that's actually around privacy. You've got Cloudflare, which runs a lot of the internet, and you've got Shopify, which runs a lot of stores. So it's very promising. I wonder if... I'm trying to see build instructions. Let's see. Now, remember, this is early stages, so there isn't a packaged release for it. We'll install the dependencies here. Let's see if we can get this running. I'll get that running while we watch this video. So let's get back to this video. It's going to take me a second to get this build environment going.
Lo and behold, we got a response from none other than Anthony. Hello, Anthony here. I appreciate the input and feedback. Please keep it coming. To be successful, Firefox should serve almost everyone. Browsers are a unique product.
I thought that was a cue for a second.
That has to work for just about everyone on the planet. Developers, Linux users, shout out. Students.
Waka waka waka. PR person speak. Shut the hell up. Let's get the actual, you know, meat and potatoes.
And people who never change the default setting. Their needs differ. Sometimes they conflict. My job is not to ignore one group to serve another. It is to make Firefox work for everyone without losing its core values.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You're going against your core values! That's the issue we're having here!
Rest assured, Firefox will always remain a browser built around the user control. That includes AI. You will have a clear way to turn off AI features.
The issue isn't that we have a way to turn off features clearly. It's that they're enabled by default. It's that no one has been asking for this crap in a browser. No one has asked for Microsoft to add Copilot. No one has asked Microsoft to do recall. No one has asked for these things. We're just tired of this shit being shoved down our throat. Firefox was originally founded when it splintered off from Netscape Navigator to be something different, to give us solutions different than the status quo that Microsoft and others at the time had given us.
Real kill switch is coming Q1 2026. Choice matters, and demonstrating our commitment to choice is how we build and maintain trust. So not many people are happy about this decision, but what the
I'm definitely not happy about it, as you can tell.
CEO is now saying is that we're going to get some magic.
What's up, Bengali? How's it going?
Going to completely turn off the AI. Well, that's interesting, as it sounds more like an opt-out situation at this point instead of an opt-in situation. So this is also sparking a bunch of backlash again. Rightfully so, as many people don't really want AI just baked into their browser and having to jump through hoops in order to actually turn things off. Anyways, it is interesting.
Yeah, I don't like having to jump through.
Scouring Reddit. We'll see what transpires out of this one. In a new commit emerged from AMD, Linux kernel 6.19 is bringing a big upgrade for older AMD Radeon GCN 1.0 and 1.1 cards. This pertains to cards like the HD 7000 and 8000 and some R9 200 models. By switching the GPUs to a newer AMD GPU driver and defaulting the legacy Radeon driver, there's been reports of up to a 30% boost in performance. Plus, Vulkan support is now out of the box via RADV. So big news for Linux users still running AMD Radeon cards. This is exciting news for Linux kernel 6.19. Researchers have recently proposed a new way to extend the Linux kernel by using safe Rust code instead of eBPF. Rex aims to make kernel extensions
look,
easier
more
to write and
Rust.
safer, while still offering similar protections and the flexibility of eBPF.
How's your new year
programs.
so far? I mean, it's
eBPF
okay.
stands for Extended Berkeley.
Can't wait to get the
and
new
is a safe
version
way to
prompt
run
and
small
browsing through the
programs inside
settings
the
to
Linux
turn
kernel
off
without
AI.
crashing.
Yeah.
People use it for tracking slow apps or system calls, advanced networking and load balancing, and security tools that are watching for suspicious behavior. Now, of course, kernel
I'm still
maintainers
building, by the way.
on this one, as they are cautious that eBPF already works, and changing the kernel extensions is a risky deal. The main concerns include eBPF's verifier is very strict and has been tested over many years. They don't want complexity creep in or fragmentation, and Rust doesn't just make everything better. So it'll be interesting if this Rex project actually gets traction. And
I'm glad that, Rust is actually being accepted more in the Civil War over, Rust adoption is pretty much quieted down. I do see advantages for Rust over the long term. Wait, what the?
At the Linux Plumbers Conference in Tokyo,
okay,
Japan, which brought a lot of interesting things, including a Linux CPU scheduler originally built to make Valve Steam Deck feel fast and smooth is now being used by Meta on its massive data centers. Engineers found the same scheduler adapts surprisingly well from handheld devices to hyperscale workloads. So interestingly enough, Meta is now testing this CPU scheduler, again, built for Valve Steam Deck, across some of their servers. And the goal here is a default scheduling solution for the rest of Meta services, and the challenges include varied hardware, CPU and cache topologies, and varied workloads, batch bursty networking. Go figure, Meta keeps benefiting from Linux and open source. And some more news from the Linux Plumbers Conference: achieving ASIL B qualified Linux while maintaining expectations from upstream kernel. Who is this for? Well, for vehicle manufacturers, robotics, and industrial and civil safety providers.
Okay.
For example, their wildfire monitoring. Another interesting proposal from NVIDIA, who is now exploring how to make Linux safe for these types of applications, focusing on meeting the automotive safety standards, which is the ASIL B, and not trying to force these changes into the mainline kernel. The company says it wants Linux to work for safety critical systems while keeping upstream development unchanged. Of course, this makes sense for NVIDIA. Why not use free and open source software in order to advance their profit, as this is the next market that they clearly want to dominate. It already has the brains, or the GPUs, and advanced AI.
Oh, look, your GPUs are going to be displaced by your Ford or your Toyota. Reuters just sent an article out about Meta. What about Meta? Actually, make the way to turn it on as hidden as Meta makes it to delete your account and data.
That it uses for cars and robots so that it can power autonomous and assisted driving systems, but now they want to focus in on standards in order to be able to sell these things. A lot of us understand that NVIDIA is no longer just a GPU company. It's got frameworks, it's got CUDA, and plenty of software stacks. This, of course, will strengthen NVIDIA's full stack system. We'll see if we really gain anything from this, or if it's just NVIDIA's gain at the end of the day. As we all know, in the past, they haven't worked well with Linux, but as of late, they have been contributing a lot more to open source. And Ubuntu.
Yep. I'm still doing the Ladybird stuff over here, so it's going to take some time if I can get it to work at all. Corresponding to Ninja. Huh? I'll have to troubleshoot that.
Developer says that Google's Gemini AI and other AIs producing sloppy and confusing code, even when writing really small, simple scripts, showing the struggle that real-world Linux kernel development, and just development in general, really needs heavy human input.
Give me 1 second, I gotta open up VS Code for something.
Try to play around with AI again, this time Gemini to help write a tiny helper script. I'd say it was the same kind of issues with Copilot. It doesn't think, so makes silly mistakes, and can't figure out the semantic of things, quickly leading to badly named variables and adds to the confusion of reading a script that often splits the responsibilities of work weirdly between functions. And this seems to be the experience of a lot of developers nowadays. As code gets complicated and fragmented by AI, it really puts into question how code should really be built, reviewed, and trusted, and what challenges AI brings into the game, especially when it comes to scale and maintainership. As maintainers will struggle.
I actually agree with this, is that we'll see a lot of people that are, using, do I use email aliases? Yes, I do. I use Proton for, Proton's simple login for a lot of that. But, The issue that you have with a lot of people using AI for coding stuff is they're vibe coding and they're not understanding what they needed to do. But you still have to be the driver behind a lot of things. So I do use it to, pair program, to, be an assistive tool. But I have to direct it in the ways that I need it to do and sometimes feed it a document I put together for a context for it to know from keeping off the rails or know how things are architected. A lot of developers are just throwing in stuff they're getting from AI, and we actually ran into an issue. I mentioned this, I think, last night on stream, where a developer actually used a malicious URL, which AI gave them, because what it did was it had base64 encoded. I think the entire, like, I can't remember, was it? It ran something through base64. I think it was just the URL was in base64 or some of the commands or whatever. Anyway, it was wrapped in base64 that when we decoded the base64, it pointed to a malicious URL, and we had to look at the developer and be like, so you just asked ChatGPT for an answer. You grabbed this code, didn't do any thinking about it, just pasted it in and ran it. And that's the problem we're having. But that's the age-old problem with a lot of developers is developers really suck at a lot of basic IT and cybersecurity shit. Stuff that I think they should have been learning while they do their classes. But the problem is a lot of coders just go through a boot camp, don't learn a lot of the fundamentals they should, don't know how a computer operates, don't know how networking operates, and just do this thing, and then it ends up being a shit show. Gemini has been good for helping me through a lot of the challenges. Oh yeah, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. Gemini is pretty good. I use Gemma, though, for my local stuff, but Gemini, I've been hearing great things. But at the end of the day, you, the human operator, still has to know how to reason with things better. True, I did some projects during my studies with developers. They couldn't care less about the security. Oh, yeah. I've literally had developers be like, oh, well, I can't do my job because of the security thing here. Can we disable it? And we're like, no, we have that enabled for compliance reasons. Well, how am I supposed to do my job? And then I literally point them to the documentation that the developer team has in how to use the secure framework we have around it. Like, it blows my mind what a lot of these developers, cut corners with.
With the trade-offs of AI in the future, and this is just one of them. It's interesting that it's coming from Ubuntu. And just about everywhere in the kernel, we're trying to make AI fit. This should bring into question whether or not it's even necessary to use AI. But on the other hand, if you haven't subscribed below, make sure to subscribe right now and smash that like button on the way back up. You wouldn't want to miss another news segment like this. And here's some interesting news as we receive updates for Weston, which is a reference compositor for Wayland, which is really a proving ground and testbed for a lot of developers where they can use Wayland. But what's exciting about this is Weston 15 Alpha just came out, and it's bringing new Wayland protocols, better HDR and color handling, and a scriptable Lua-based shell. This is all experimental, as it's a big developer-focused.
I'm glad that Wayland is getting better and better and more mature. I do want to move to it later.
This was scheduled for October, but we decided to further postpone.
Did my graduation ship about SAS, DAST, and SCA tooling, and it was quite interesting. Yeah, a lot of developers don't know about the whole pipelines that you need to do and things like that. Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Time for landing protocols, support like FIFO, commit timing, and color representation, which is great to hear, as we may see a January 26th official stable Weston 15 release. So this is great because Weston, again, is a reference implementation of the Wayland compositor. Basically, it shows how Wayland is supposed to work.
Block for them as their pipeline usually fails. Yeah, because their skills suck.
And render the final scene using Graphics API to display things via the kernel's graphical stack. Unlike using GNOME's Mutter or KDE's Kwin, Weston allows minimal code, fast testing, and focuses on correctness, protocols, and performance of actually using Wayland. So it's always great to see these improvements coming to Weston and that it's maturing.
And to give you an idea of like when AI is good, I'm using VS Code right now to troubleshoot why I'm having build issues with this project, but I'm still checking everything it's doing. AI is not inherently bad. It's all in how you use it. Just the same way as I tell people, nuclear energy is neither good nor evil. It's all in the intent. You can use it to wipe out thousands of homes or power thousands of homes.
Tackling problems like we have with HDR and late.
I thought Pop OS uses Wayland. Yeah, the new Pop OS 2404 does. I'm still on 2204, and I don't plan to upgrade until 2604.
In Wayland,
Which will be out in a few months.
Those accessibility tools like we see on X. But now I want to talk about a removal from the Linux kernel. The upcoming Linux 7.0 kernel will remove support for AMD's NPU2, an early AI accelerator that was never released as a real product. AMD says the unused code is not worth maintaining, so it's simply removing it from the Linux kernel AI driver stack. You can see here a couple of lines as it takes out the NPU2 registers and cleans up.
Interesting. So
there's much more that gets.
You mentioned kernel version 6.19. What changes will be included? There's a lot. 6.19, I think, is still let me see, kernel.org. I think 6.19 is still in a release candidate stage. So what's to be released can still change. The current stable is 6.182.
Completely removed from the code, but it's always nice to see this type of cleanup taking place as it keeps the Linux kernel lean and understandable. Less code means fewer bugs and lower maintenance burden for developers. AMD has done a good job of contribution to the Linux kernel, and AMD for a long time has treated Linux as a first-class platform, while NVIDIA has historically treated it.
I never ever would have got through a lot of this situation without Gemini, etc., and sleeps. Yeah, there's a lot that I can use with LLMs and stuff, like right now, it's helping me get through the build issues around other things. Because we just saw, like, the documentation they had is for newer versions of, like, Ubuntu and stuff. Well, I had to go to some older versions because I'm on Pop OS 2204, which technically is a little bit older. It's still supported, but it's a little older. Which is why I'm definitely wanting to upgrade to 2604, but I don't want to upgrade to 2404 right now. Because it doesn't make sense, because I'd update to 2604 anyway a few months later, so, yeah. I'm using Gemini right now to pick a color for my wall in my new apartment to see how it would look. Oh, really?
AMD
Interesting.
really takes its time as well.
Did you see the Linus Tech Tips video? Yeah, everyone keeps asking me about that. I have not seen the video, but I've heard of, you know, the video being used. The reason why I haven't watched it is, one, it's 50 minutes long or so. Two, there's only one Linus that I actually care to watch in that video. And I think you know which one I'm talking about.
Best upstream kernel contributors among hardware vendors. So it's always nice to kind of see this cleanup taking place. I know it's not big or flashy news, but I do like covering little simple things like this as well. And if you want to level up your Linux experience today, check out my checklist, cheat sheet, and my map, all available at savvynick.com. Get those sheets today. Not necessarily Linux related, but open source related, Lua 5.5 is officially out. The first major release in 5 years, bringing a few things, including
Lua's been out for a while. That's kind of interesting.
Much more memory usage for large arrays, around 60% less.
Wow, 60% reduction? That's a major accomplishment.
For this lightweight scripting language that is becoming more efficient. And for those of you unaware, Lua is a tiny scripting language that's usually embedded inside of things like games or tools, other apps.
My Tangara music player, the one that I use to replace my iPod Classic that I use for every day, it actually uses Lua scripting for modifying it.
To make them.
Yeah, Lua is already powerful. It definitely is. I haven't done too much with Lua, but I know a lot of people that swear by it.
Tiny in size compared to Python's large runtime. It's got very fast startup speeds and very low overhead, so it just makes it shine, especially when you want to embed the scripting language in your own applications. Anyways, big wins after 5 years of development. I told you there were a lot of updates over the last week, and another big update is the announcement of the release of MPV 0.41. MPV is a lightweight, high-quality open-source video editor, popular with Linux users and power users across platforms. With MPV 0.41, this brings better Wayland.
Never heard of it.
HDR and color handling because the protocol was exposed with Wayland not too long ago. They're finally bringing this in. And now it offers a Vulkan-based hardware video decoding where
Never heard of this. Oh, they have a chocolatey install. That's cool. Huh. I shall test this out. Oh, they got an app repository right there. Okay. I shall see about that.
A big upgrade for modern Linux desktops and GPUs. For those of you using MPV, rejoice, as we get quite a few improvements with the latest 0.41 release. One note is that it does require FFmpeg 6.1 or newer and libplacebo 6.338.2 or newer. Another cool thing is that it supports ambient light support on Linux now. And again, the biggest deal is probably these two: color representation protocol support for Wayland and table input support for Wayland. This means HDR for us. If you haven't heard of MPV, you can check it out at mpv.io. Anyways, here's an interesting one which we just landed a fix for. With Linux kernel 6.19, we have a small but important fix for Seagate Barracuda 2TB HDDs. The issue was that the entire system's SATA bus could go offline, and this is all related to a power-saving feature for that specific drive model. The kernel has now disabled the problematic power-saving feature and prevents crashing and drive dropouts for the affected users. And this here is the long-running Linux kernel bug report that ended up tracing down why some people's systems and SATA drives suddenly vanished on newer kernels. Again, because of that power management quirk and large I/O commands inevitably created failures in certain drives and controllers. Months of testing helped pinpoint what was actually happening, ultimately leading to this now patch. Now, this doesn't affect many people, but do understand if you're a Seagate Barracuda hard disk user and your SATA bus...
I haven't used a Seagate Barracuda drive in a minute. Not that I'm against them, it's just, yeah, that's, fun.
is acting unpredictably, well, 6.19 is going to include a fix for you.
Are you sitting on a Herman Miller Aeron with headrest? Yes, I am.
Users. With the update to driver version 590, the NVIDIA driver no longer supports Pascal GTX 10 series GPUs.
We talked about this the other day. We talked about this, was it Brody Robertson, I think was his name? He had a video talking just about this, and that Arch changed some stuff up with the NVIDIA 590 drivers, but effectively this only affects the 1000 series GPUs, which they're still great GPUs, don't get me wrong. They they're getting a little bit dated. So, yeah. Like, I'm currently on the 580 drivers. The 590 should be there soon. Which phone do I use? I've been using Samsung for years, but thinking about going for the next Pixel and installing Graphene on it. So, I have an iPhone, and I have a Pixel 7a with Graphene OS on it. And I have a Samsung S23 I use for the camera. So, pick your poison. The iPhone's generally my daily go-to just because it's basic and I don't really use my phone for all that much stuff. But I do have the Graphene phone as well. Now, I am thinking about buying a tablet because I haven't had a tablet for a while. And there are some use cases when I could use it and just get a keyboard attached to it. And I'm thinking of getting a Google Pixel and installing Graphene on that.
To move to NVIDIA's open kernel modules by default. If you have an older NVIDIA card, you'll need to switch to the legacy driver or risk losing your desktop after upgrading. So again, if you're on an older GTX 10 series or earlier, the NVIDIA driver won't load anymore. You must manually install the legacy NVIDIA driver to keep your graphics working. And this all aligns with Arch Linux and NVIDIA's push towards an open source kernel driver. Pretty big news for legacy driver users. Again, NVIDIA 590 driver drops Pascal support.
The interesting thing about that is this is in relation to NVIDIA getting away from the proprietary kernel driver and moving to the open driver kernel. Because my 5070 Ti, I had to install the open open kernel driver for it to work. The same thing in my LLM server with the 5060 Ti. It would not work with the proprietary driver. It would see my 3070, but not my 5060 Ti. And in order to get both seen, I had to install the 580 open. Feel like Graphene could be a pain in the ass for daily use. No, it works perfectly fine. The only issue that I've had with Graphene OS is in terms of if you use Google Pay, because Google Pay, Google Wallet will only work in the signed firmwares. But the way to get around that is very simple. I've had friends that have actually told me to do this. Get a Google Pixel Watch with the cell service. Use that for your Google Pay. Have that sync to your phone, though, and that will get around the Google Pay limitation on the Graphene phone. Which, for me, makes total sense, because, like, when I'm using Apple Pay, I only do it from my watch. If I'm having to grab my phone, if I'm having to reach in my wallet, I'm grabbing my actual wallet, not my phone to do Apple Pay. That's just how I operate. I've got to buy the overpriced Pixel Watch, though. Considering all of what it does, it's not that overpriced. It's not like you're buying a Rolex, though. MPV didn't work well for some of my 4K movies. That had a separate subtitle file, but otherwise it's decent. MPV plus FFmpeg equals powerful lightweight player. Really?
News from a name I haven't heard in a while. Elementary OS 8.1 is available now, which uses Wayland as default, bringing improvements to the desktop of Elementary OS. X11 session is still around for users who want it, but this is the biggest improvement that we're seeing.
What is Lua? Lua is a scripting language.
In Elementary OS 8 last November with the new secure session powered by Wayland, we now see it being used by default. And we're also seeing other improvements with 8.1 besides the Wayland by default switch, which was driven heavily by real user feedback, over 1,100 issues fixed, including stronger privacy and security with improved app armor and new password dialogues, fractional display scaling, dock upgrades, app center improvements, and overall a faster.
I hear some people like Elementary OS, and I've heard good things about it.
This one, it's been a while since I've explored Elementary OS. If you want me to, post it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. And moving.
All right, I wanted to check this out. So I just got MPV. Interesting. It's very lightweight, so like you can't just use it like you can VLC to open the file. You got to drop a file in there. So let me see. I should have a video that I can use. Here, we'll get one of my typed your banks or other URL wrong. Yeah. Not bad. It literally just responded like that. Now, what I'm curious about, this is MPV. Meh. Oh, yeah, my CPU is getting pegged because I'm compiling software. We'll check that in a little bit.
To Linux Mint 22.3 Xana. The beta release is now available, which is bringing new Cinnamon.
I'm in the middle of compiling Ladybird right now.
Smoother files management and small quality of life improvement.
You want to see all 32 threads of a 5950X get pegged? This is getting pegged as much as you probably want to do with that big titty goth girl.
All built.
Don't tell me you haven't thought about it.
For the long-term support edition of Ubuntu. So for those of you who want to try out the new Cinnamon Desktop 6.6, you can now try out the beta before we get an official release of Linux Mint 22.3. Moving on to desktops now. This week in Plasma, we get ambient light sensor support, which is a big deal.
Interesting.
This is a notable new feature and has been long awaited, as ambient light sensor support on modern laptops allows for automatic brightness adjustment on the devices with these types of sensors. A big win for laptop users.
You know, that's something I never really think about much, is the ambient light sensors, because I'm just so used to, because I grew up with laptops not having it, just adjusting to it. But I guess that is a big win of, you know, automatically adjusting the screen to your preferences.
A lot of us have this sensor nowadays. And also another big deal, added a workaround for Windows games with HDR support to make sure their colors still look good when running in Wine or Proton. This is a cool deal, so we don't get washed out or clipped colors when HDR is enabled through KDE while
get pegged by the femboy nerd. They packing some size under that skirt.
Machines, another great improvement, all via Plasma 6.6. Man, so many updates in the last week or so. A lot to catch up on. Thanks for sticking around. Let's talk about the Systemd 259 release. This now adds new experimental Musel libc support, better container friendliness, faster module loading, and a pile of security updates, including for boot and service management. But some of the biggest policy and changes include System 5 and init script support is deprecated and will be removed with Systemd 260. TPM 1.2 support is fully removed, so you only have TPM 2.0. Journal storage defaults
Interesting.
are now persistent instead of automatic.
It's interesting that we do have TPM support when I don't use TPM. I've never really cared for TPM, and we found vulnerabilities in TPM. UEFI and TPM have never really been technologies that I've been really favoring. I just use them because begrudgingly we have to, at least on the Windows side of things. But if given the option, I would rather go back to good old-fashioned BIOS, get rid of UEFI entirely, get rid of all this Intel Management Engine and AMD PSP and TPM crap.
The IP tables based NAT is gone. You only have NF tables. Huge table memory support is now counted in C group memory usage. So we're cutting out quite a bit of legacy, tech support, and tightening our security, including improving containers, TPM support, and of course other services. In an interesting move from Red Hat, it is acquiring Chatterbox Labs, an AI.
Oh God, what does this mean?
Firm to strengthen its enterprise AI platform, focusing on
More AI crap.
AI guardrails, bias detection, and model security. And there are plans to open source this technology over time. An interesting move by Red Hat as it continues.
Okay, if they're open sourcing it, not as bad, okay.
They go more into the announcement and why they actually did this and who Chatterbox actually is. But the main idea here is to provide a safe, compliant, and audible way to run AI on their systems, as AI is a security risk for Red Hat and other Linux distributions.
Can understand that.
To be a company who can sell to enterprises when AI stops being experimental and it becomes safe and enterprise ready. Another big piece.
That has actually been a real big problem because there's been a lot of companies that we've seen, which is weird because isn't real supposedly purposely be years behind the edge? Yes and no. They do have later repositories, but they do keep stable things. But the good thing about this, I will say, is that AI is an inherent risk. We've talked about this before. But to recap for the people that are, not familiar with this discussion that we've had, is that there have been a lot of companies that are getting rid of their traditional chatbots and putting in LLM, colloquial as people call it AI, but LLM is not an AI, just remember that. Whenever I say AI, I don't really mean AI in the general artificial intelligence way. It's LLM. A large language model is not AI. Anyway, but a lot of these systems have not really been so secured, and there's a lot of ways to jailbreak them by inputting commands or formulating discussions that there was actually a security researcher that managed to exfiltrate computer, personal information and account information from Verizon customers by, inserting a series of prompts to get it to, do that. So there are companies out there like Zscaler and such that have actually been, like, Zscaler has an AI proxy that essentially you can have it run the prompts, the output through Zscaler's system, so it can actually check if there's any PII through the DLP before it hits the users. And that is a big security gap because there's also hospital systems. I've talked to a friend of mine that works for a hospital network, and they have LLMs doing a lot of their stuff. And he's managed to jailbreak it where, all right, TikTok, YouTube, I want to be clear. This is for educational reasons. Okay? He managed... Now, normally, an AI in a healthcare setting should not let you be able to create dangerous things. He managed within 2 prompts to get it to tell him how to, in the lab, make, shall we say, the same chemical and drug that Walter White was selling in Breaking Bad. And do it at scale. In 2 prompts. This is the kind of security issue that we need to worry about. It had some basic safeguards around it, but he was able to break it down. These are the problems that we have with a lot of LLMs currently as they are, and why a lot of companies should not be jumping to replace employees, because you can train an employee against social engineering, giving certain information out, knowing ethical guidelines, whereas you can formulate a thing to an AI and it will just break its own rules. I do banking online. What's the best practice to do when paying online? Generally speaking, when possible, I recommend using Apple Pay. I know some people say, what about Google Pay? The way Apple Pay operates is a lot more secure and private than Google Pay. Google Pay does, like, Apple does it on the device more, whereas Google Pay does it on the server more. Either way, those systems are a little bit more secure than paying directly with your card. PayPal is another option. I know not everyone's a fan of PayPal. I'm just saying to prevent the direct information from being exposed. And then short of that, I always advise people don't use debit cards, use credit cards. Because at least in the United States of America, the protections around using a credit card in cases of fraud is a lot better than a debit card. Because a credit card, you can dispute a charge much easier. A debit card, that money is still taken out of your account, and it may take months for it to actually be credited back to your account. You can also use things like privacy.com to set spending limits around debit cards, but not credit cards. There's a lot you can do around that, but yeah. Imagine what bad people are doing with AI. Oh, there's a lot of things you can do with it. At work, I've actually used LLMs to craft very easily, how should I say this? Craft very good phishing emails that look like they came straight from the company, and I literally sent it over to a GRC person, had it created through the laptop using Mistral, just using the CPU, not the GPU, just the CPU. And it crafted a letter. I changed the name, changed like a couple minor details, slapped a company, image and logo and the header and everything, sent it over to the GRC guy that does phishing, and he's like, what the hell? I'm like, yeah, I did that in like 2 minutes. You can do a lot with this. You're correct, using Apple Pay credit cards and not using debit cards. Good advice. Yep.
News, the Linux kernel officially received its first ever CVE that was tied directly to Rust code. It
Oh, really?
This condition in the Rust-based Android binder driver, and this bug could cause crashes, but no severe security exploits were found. This email from Greg Crow-Hartman goes into depth on what actually happened and how this exploit was found. I go much more into depth in a dedicated video about this whole situation. Definitely check that out if you're interested. But really, what we found was a bit of code that was unsafe dealing with linked lists, which was unsafe because if another thread was accessing the code in parallel, it could cause corrupted memory, broken lists, or just crashes. It's a data race condition.
Interesting.
Multiple threads trying to access the same pointers at the same time. Lenovo ThinkPad users are seeing interesting support added into the Linux kernel called Add Support to Detect Hardware Damage Detection capability.
Ooh.
This is a proposal to add support to let Lenovo ThinkPads report detected hardware damage to the operating system, starting with checks for damaged USB-C ports, so that users and tools can be warned about premature failure if it is detected. It's very
That's actually very useful. Because a lot of people are not familiar with, aware when, they start having hardware issues. And if we can start detecting USB-C issues, then great. You just installed Wuzza and I am actually loving it. Great. I'm actually going to be setting up Wuzza in my home lab soon once I get through the networking. I think this weekend I'm going to be turning off my old firewall so I can start migrating things over. And then I'll start planning this weekend, to rebuild my firewall on the new hardware. And then once everything is all confirmed one-to-one migrated over the way I want it, I will then shut down my firewall, put in the new firewall, turn everything on, and then if everything's kosher, then I get to rebuild on the old firewall all of my logging, SIM server, and all that stuff together. So there may be a couple of streams where we're building some stuff on the home lab. We'll get through that in the near future. That's probably going to be a multi-week build because there's a lot of things I got to do. But that's also part of the overall build that I'm trying to do to get my entire network zero trusted. So we're going to be getting into 802.1x with certificate requirements to be on my main net. Different VLANs for mobile devices versus laptops and stuff, and how it's going to pivot that way. I got to do some re-architecture of the Wi-Fi side of things, and I think there'll be some cool things coming down the pipeline.
It'd be really cool to see these types of things added to the kernel where we could detect whether or not something's going out before it actually goes out, perhaps, or if it's truly gone out completely. It's an interesting move, and I wonder if more hardware vendors will use this as a stepping stone to create their own set of tools and conditions that can detect hardware damage. It's pretty cool in my opinion. Let me know what you think about this. Do you have a ThinkPad yourself? You could potentially benefit from this one. And I'm going to end things here as we covered a ton of news today. A lot went down in the last week or so. And let me know in the comment section below what you found the most interesting over the last week. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe below and smash that like button on the way back up. Catch me in a great community on Discord, and I'll catch you in another video. Thanks for watching.
Nice. Okay, so what's the next thing? All right, so we're going to take a quick break for a second. Nature's calling right now. And then we're going to explore Ladybird. I just got it built. We'll test this out and see what we think about it. But yeah, let me use the bathroom. I'll be right back in a little bit, and we'll continue on shortly. All right, we're back. So, this is the Ladybird browser over here. So, very basic UI because it's still being developed and everything. Look at that. There's like, is there even like settings? Oh yeah, there is. So this is still under development. So let's keep that in mind over here. DNS, you can modify the DNS over here. Browsing data. So if we clear cache and cookies, enable global privacy control, tell websites not to sell or share your data. The problem is this, I think, is going to depend on a flag that websites have to actually respect. That's not always the case. Autoplay, so you can enable on that. Okay. You can do a per site setting. Default search engine. Okay, so they got Brave search built in? Oh, interesting. We'll set that to DuckDuckGo. Search suggestions. I like the fact that it's disabled on both out the box, though. I don't know if that's going to stay. Language support. Okay, yeah, so it's only using English, but it's got language packs for a bunch of other stuff here. Let's see. Is it gonna load something? Okay, so it's still... Okay, so it definitely has some work to be done, because if we look GitHub, it's not only loading very slow, but... Okay, it takes a while to render. So, like I said, this is very early days. I don't even think it's rendering everything right. Oh, it is. It's just taking an extremely long amount of time. There are only 3 of you who actually understand cybersecurity inside spaces. Well, yeah. And you can actually see, inside of here, because I ran it out of this. I did have to use Claude Opus to help me troubleshoot the build error. It turns out it was because the documentation is assuming that you have a newer version of a few things out there that I don't have access to, and Pop OS 2204, like libstdc++ was not on version 14. It actually had me go through version 12. Could I have figured that on my own? Probably, but it was a lot quicker for it to do the prompt. Anyway, you can see there's a few errors here. As we don't support performance entry, type, layout, shift, event, first input, event. So there definitely is some, you know, improvements that are still done. Again, this is beta. This is still beta. So as we can see, there's a little bit of a lag, but the beautiful thing about this is, as we can see going to the about, okay, it's displaying as a user agent of Mozilla, but it's Ladybird. So it's using their own engine, from my understanding. Here, let's try doing a search on there. So DuckDuckGo. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit laggy. But again, this is still early days for this browser. So Ladybird is using Mozilla. I'm not sure that's the case. I think they're doing their own engine. Let's see. About Ladybird. About brand new browser and web engine. The web, I think the user agent is just telling it that it looks like Mozilla to the companies that are, you know, pulling it up, because, you know, it's a little bit different, but Ladybird is currently in heavy development. Okay, it's not even an alpha. We're in pre-alpha. So yeah, I will give this a lot of leeway, seeing as it's very early days for it. But this will be interesting to see how it works over time. But yeah, it definitely has a lot of improvement to go. The interesting thing is the Ladybird website is the most performant website that operates with it, and I'm glad that they at least optimized their website for it. Why build a new browser in C++ when safer in modern languages? Good things they have those. Will Ladybird work on mobile devices? They don't have a port planned. Will Ladybird work on Windows? We don't have anyone actively working on Windows support, and there are considerable changes required to make it work outside a Unix-like environment. So eventually they will have a Windows version, but that's not their priority at the moment. The focus of the... What does no code from other browsers really mean? Okay, the focus of the Ladybird project is to build a new browser engine from the ground up. We don't use code from Blink, WebKit, Gecko, or any other browser engine, Gecko being what the Firefox engine is using. For historical reasons, the browser uses various libraries from the Serenity OS project, which has a strong culture of writing everything from scratch. Now that Ladybird is forked from Serenity OS, it is no longer bound by this culture, and we will be making use of third-party libraries for common functionality, e.g. image, audio, video formats, encryption, graphics, etc. We are already using some of the third-party libraries that other browsers use, but we will never adopt another browser engine instead of building our own. So, yeah, that confirms what I was saying. The user agent string is having it presented as Mozilla 5.0, probably for compatibility reasons over there, to anything else to know how to render it, but it is showing as Ladybird over there. Pop OS 2604 plus Ladybird when we upgrade the system. Well, it's pre-alpha. It's pre-alpha. They're planning to have an alpha release from what we just read this year. Yeah, it's 2026 now. This year. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'm definitely... Okay, so summer 2026 is the plan for the first alpha version on Linux and Mac OS. So we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on this over time. I don't know if when this will be my primary browser. Like, they definitely need to get dark mode support. That is a... no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I need dark mode support. I need to get dark mode working on every single website. This is just killing my eyes right now. But yeah. I think it's promising. It's promising for sure. Alright. There are only 3 of you that actually understand cybersecurity inside spaces. Why so few? I don't know why that is, actually. Now, I really want to get back inside of an environment where I can use a desktop, etc. in Linux again. Yeah. That's awesome. It'll be on Mac OS, and dark mode is necessity. Yeah, I totally agree. Any piece of software, especially web browsers, needs to have a dark mode. It needs to, for accessibility reasons. I actually brought up this issue because at work, they took issue with me using Dark Reader. For those of you not familiar with Dark Reader, that is the extension I have over here. I have this on all of my browsers. It's an open source software you can install on pretty much every browser out there, and it can convert your website to dark mode. And they're like, well, this is an unapproved extension, and you're going to need to get approval for that. And I literally went to GRC, and I said, you need to approve that under ADA standards. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, this is falling under a reasonable accommodation for my accessibility needs with vision issues. I have to have dark mode on everything. There was no ifs or ands or buts about it. And they had to acquiesce. They had to back off, and, you know, I said, look, you want to call it out on all the other, you know, extensions, that's fine. I draw the line here. That is a reasonable accommodation requirement. This needs to be allowed to be installed, and you shouldn't be requiring any employee to have to justify the need for this software. That should just be a blanket allowance under ADA. Light mode gives me a headache, but I will use it if the dark mode is so horribly implemented that light mode is the better option. I agree. If it were not for the blue light filtering in my glasses, I would get severe headaches and migraines using light mode like I used to. Why are light modes the default? That's just because of how they used to do the default. Back in the day, you used to have green or orange text on a black screen, and that was a little easier on the eyes. Then they started doing light mode for everything. Apple even said that if they could do it over again, they would have made dark mode the default because it actually uses less power. Yeah. Somebody ping me in the chat. I don't know what Nero just sent me a video for. Oh. Oh, yeah. I'll also have to see that. Okay, anyway, let's go back to the review on stream. Vampire sent me a video from Dungeon Soup. What is this? This is like, I guess, a fantasy little cartoon thing. Need to get back to using the glasses for protection. Dark mode uses way less power. Oh, yeah. Oh, here's a fun tip. Y'all know how I like, Costco. Okay, this is like 41 minutes. We're gonna have to, like, set that aside for another time. I want to get through the, rest of the stuff here that's tech-related. And this for later. It's a long video. But yeah, if you go to Costco, you can get blue light filtering on glasses for free. You just have to ask for it. That's at Costco, at least. Okay, so 1 second. I'm going to go to the next video because this is a little bit long. The last effect of the Nuka Shine. What is this? Some of these are from the mods, obviously. For any archers or aspiring vampire hunters.
Just playing Fallout 76, right? I decided to try out a Nuka Shine and punch some super mutants. The last effect of the Nuka Shine is that you pass out and you spawn randomly somewhere in the world. So inevitably, my screen starts to black out and the character passes out. When my screen starts to fade back in, I am greeted with this. The confusing and disbelief when I started seeing the silhouettes of a body and a horse carriage could not be described. After the screen finally cleared up, I thought, are you fucking kidding me, Bethesda? The one time I use a Nuka Shine and pass out, I fucking wake up to this? So I'm just playing Fallout 76, right? I decided to try out a Nuka Shine and punch some super mutants.
Would you wake up in the Skyrim world, basically? Okay, so what is this? McNally official. Oh, I love McNally. Him and the lockpicking lawyer are great. Struggling to change Papa 2404 terminal to green on black has been another reason I haven't switched. Yeah, that's why I'm waiting for Pop OS 2604. I love Cosmic. Do not get me wrong. But it's still very early days. So I want more of the bugs to be figured out. And then Pop OS 2604 will be the latest LTS with all the latest software and everything there. Like, the honest truth is, I've said this before, I don't see why System 76 even bothered releasing Pop OS 2404 at all. Why they couldn't just keep developing Cosmic, for all the issues they were going through, and then just release it with 2604, because it's right around the corner. So, like, April, May, 2604 will be released. And around then is when I will plan to back up my entire system and upgrade. Although backing up, actually, my backups don't even need to be done, because guess what I use? I use Blinkdisk. I've been loving Blinkdisk, by the way, for all of my backups. I use it on the Windows and Linux boxes. I do have a link in bio if you do want to use it. The great thing about it, yes, I am affiliated with them, but you don't have to use their hosted infrastructure. Now, that's how they make their money. They have the software on GitHub if you want to check it out. But you can, hold on. Where's the Blinkdisk? There's the Blinkdisk. Okay, so it's asking me to do an update here, so I can, just install and restart. Give it a second here. That is nice that it at least does that, so I can just have the update done. Okay, so I can have this back up to S3 or my NAS, and yeah, there you go. But first I need a NAS, which is not cheap by any means. Well, you don't need a NAS to use this. You can have it back up to anywhere. You can have it back up to your hard drive, to, flash drive, S3 bucket, WebDAV, FTP. It's a great little system, and I have my system do it every few hours. Although, obviously, it was a whole day apart because I had my machine shut down. But it's great. I love it. I have it on my Windows and my Linux box. And it just runs in the background. I've actually used it. It's replaced Deja Dupe. And I love the fact that it works on Mac, Windows, and Linux. So if I get another computer, I just literally install Blinkdisk there. And I can bring over all the files from the other systems.
Insert it in between the lock body and...
You are using a Kingsley 4-dial combination lock. It can be opened with a Kingsley 4-dial combination lock.
Ha!
Insert it in...
I love how people are like, well, why do you get these locks and everything? Like, okay, the funniest thing is I had an ex that was like, you have like a lot of locks, and then you have cameras. Well, why do you have the cameras if you also, do the locks? And I literally brought out my lock pick and picked my own lock in front of her and then let myself in. And I looked at her and I'm like, that's why I have the cameras. And she's like, you just did that in like 30 seconds. And I'm like, mm-hmm. And she's like, So what about my locks? And I'm like, I can probably pick yours even faster. But yeah, Lockpicking Lawyer, McNally, I actually watch their stuff quite a bit. I love Lockpicking Lawyer's April Fool's videos. He always does great ones. All right, so Minecraft collabed with SpongeBob. Red Fang sent this. Red Fang, Vampire Lord, same person.
Minecraft collabed with SpongeBob? They've added SpongeBob biomes? I guess we're being SpongeBob.
Couldn't get much
Wait, what?
better, but it keeps on trying.
This is so weird. I think they've just replaced every single biome with a SpongeBob variant. What are these? Oh,
Wait, what?
My goodness, this is awesome. Is that the chum bucket? Oh, my bad. It's the salty spittoon. Oh my goodness. Would these guys kill me in survival mode? Oh, they don't even fight back. Okay, he does. Let's run. This looks like
Lockpicking the back door will never not be funny. Oh, totally agree.
Imagination. Oh my goodness, there's a rainbow. No way, I found the Goo Lagoon. What other structures are there? Oh wait, there's a wiki. There is a bikini.
Oh, that does remind me of the funny thing that I told one of my exes, and she's like, is there any way, you know, what was it? She like joking. She was a few drinks in, and she's like, you really like lockpicking that you could probably use it in the bedroom. Like, well, if you buy a chastity belt, I can pick that, and then that's foreplay, isn't that?
Bottom? Oh my goodness. Wait, I remember this guy.
SpongeBob is in Fortnite.
Bottom. I hear Gary. Gary! Oh, you're not Gary. Mr. Krabs! Oh, never mind. It's the sidewalk crab. You're a fake. Craft blueprints for homes? Can I just generate structures with this? Oh my goodness. That's so cool. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, Patrick. You can trade with him. What about SpongeBob's house? This is so cool. Hello. Guitars. And of course, Squidward's house. Hi, Squidward. He just sells us paintings. Is that a weapon? Oh my goodness.
His guitar's a weapon?
Like. What does it look like in the end, though? Oh my goodness. The Ender Dragon is Davy Jones' pirate ship. Minecraft collabed with...
Interesting. Okay, so this is another video from Vampire. Windows optimization, gobbling RAM. Oh, God. Is this gobbling this up like the X that was a throat goat? Never mind, I'm now... I shouldn't have said that, but I did.
In the middle of a RAM apocalypse, and Microsoft is out here gobbling it all up in the name of optimization. There's actually two parts to this issue. Firstly, in a recent update, Windows will now enable, by default, a service that's known for absolutely chopping down your memory megabytes the longer it's left on. The AppX deployment service was turned to on by default to, quote, improve reliability in some isolated scenarios, but it isn't.
Hold up, was that why this computer's been eating more? No, wait, I got 24H2 on this machine. I still have it updated 25H2. But I did notice that my Windows Stream box, I mean, aside from the crash that it had last night, and among other issues that it's had because it's Windows, it eats up a lot of RAM. It's got 64 gigs of RAM, and I found it. And mind you, I don't do shit on this computer. Like, it's literally just running OBS. There's a Firefox browser right now. Here, let me open up the task manager to just see all of what this is doing right now. Task manager. Okay. Right now, I am using 32% of memory, 20.7 gigabytes. And all I am doing is running OBS, streaming to the 4 services. The GPU, the NVIDIA 5050, is doing most of the work, which, by the way, that's at 65% utilization for 4 streams. I have one browser open for Firefox with 2 tabs. One of them is just the TikTok Live Center one, so that I can monitor that with the key and everything. StreamerBot is open over here. OBS bot control for the little camera on a gimbal. And Bitwarden. Like, that is literally all that is running. And I'm using 21 gigabytes. Now, I want to see something interesting. Just to compare. I am by far using a lot more stuff on this machine right now, all right? let's count this. We have Firefox open with all these tabs. We have Heroic Launcher over here because I was testing out Rocket League. VeraCrypt is open here. A calculator. Steam is open. Discord is open. Element for my Matrix chat is open. Firefox with 4 windows is open. Chromium is open with 4 windows monitoring my chat. And then we got File Explorer. Okay, all of this stuff. Still using less memory than my Windows box is. My Windows box is reporting 21.1 gigabytes of memory being used. 21.1. That is ridiculous. And of course, the stream's now having issues again on Windows. I'm convinced the stream issues are related more to Windows than anything. But yeah. How many desktops do I have? Just these 2. Well, technically 3 if we count the little mini PC that's running as a logging server. But I digress. It's gotten much worse on 25H2. Really. Which perturbs me because I've been contemplating doing the upgrade because I'm still on 24H2 on Windows 11 Enterprise. But yeah. Do you have any games that don't run on Linux? Because I got none. The only game that doesn't run on Linux for me anymore that I know of is Apex Legends. It used to work on Linux.